Tell Me About It is brought to you by Don Franklin Auto of Glasgow, Extreme Health Club, and Lockshield Partners Accounting Services.
KY Sports TV, James Brown, 104 The Score. Welcome back to another episode of Tell Me About It, Glasgow Electric Plant Board, Channel 6, the local channel.
That's right.
James, it's been a little while since we've been together back on the show.
Yeah, we've been kind of alternating. You had some interviews with some new Caverna coaches. I think I had Chris Jennings in last week. Eddie Furlong's going to join here in a little while to talk about some things going on with Glasgow Parks and Recreation Department. We've been kind of alternating guests.
You missed me too, didn't you?
Well, yeah, of course I missed you.
Okay, I just got to make sure.
I mean, you were busy golfing, so I mean.
I was not golfing. I had to work.
That's what you say.
Well, and you read the obit, so you know where I'm at. So you know where we go.
We're going to talk a little bit about some summer basketball, right? I mean, the dead period kicked off on the weekend, and so we got to see some games last week.
Before that.
Yes, sir.
I'm not a college baseball fan. I mean, I'll go to watch some games.
Yeah.
But I did watch night before last night.
Uh-huh.
It was amazing how one team was so dominant.
Yeah.
And then last night LSU came back and Florida looked like they shouldn't have been ranked.
You know, the thing about college baseball is, especially in a 3-game series, which is what you play during the conference regular season, is a lot of times you'll have a number 1 and you'll have a number 2. When you get to the number 3 game, there's no telling how it's going to work out. You know, because you might have in the first game. I think the first game was 4-3. I think was the final score of that game that LSU won. And so that's probably your 2 best pitchers pitching in that game, and then things kind of get haywire after that because if something goes wrong, you got to bring in your closer sooner than you want. Your middle relief guy may be a specialist in terms of pitching the left-handed batters, that kind of stuff. So when you get to that 3rd game, all bets are off.
49 hits in 2 games between the two.
Yeah.
And I think it was 9 or 10 home runs.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah. What was it? 24-3 Florida beat them on Sunday, and it was 18-4.
18-4.
Last night?
Yes.
Monday night?
Yes.
So, yeah, wild one. College baseball, that's kind of why it's entertaining, too, because it's wild.
I enjoy watching it.
Yeah.
Summer basketball.
Yes, sir. So, I think I've seen Caverna play 3 or 4 times during the summer, boys. Saw Barron County's boys play 2 or 3 times. Glasgow's boys play 2 or 3 times, maybe 4 times. I got to see the Barron County girls play a couple of times. Glasgow girls play a couple of times. So the Caverna girls didn't have a summer. I guess they still don't have a coach.
Still don't have a coach.
Yeah, so they didn't play at all. I was pretty impressed with the Caverna boys when I saw them play. I think they played Greenwood over at Barron County. Looked pretty good in that game overall. The only thing I worry about with them is after they get past 5, 6 players, their first 5 are good. 6th player off the bench is a solid player. I'm not sure how much depth they have left after that because that may be the problem they run into during the regular season next year.
Talking to Coach Barker after, because we're selling fireworks. So if you need some fireworks, you need to come and see us.
All right.
Loves in Horse Cave. That's for everybody. I'm trying to get that plug in there.
Is that fundraiser for?
It is a fundraiser for the athletic department.
Yes, not just cash in your pocket.
No, it's no cash in the pocket.
Right.
But Coach Barker, that's his main concern is the depth.
Yeah.
The lack of.
Yeah.
He was very pleased with how they played because they played Warren Central. I think it was a 3-point game, and they did have Unseld. Unseld did play.
Yeah.
They went up to Shelbyville and played in that little ordeal, and they won every game. And I know they said that one of the biggest matchups was Ty Price, who is ESPN nationally ranked.
Yeah, kid at Butler County.
Yes. And they said Jalen Crane gave him everything that he wanted, plus probably a little more.
Yeah.
And Caverna won, I think. No, they lost by 1, or they won by 1. I don't remember, but said it was a very entertaining game.
Yeah.
I didn't get to watch any other games, and honestly, the only reason I got to go to that game is because I had a little break. But I think there's going to be some talent in the area as far as basketball goes this year.
Yeah, I tell you what, you mentioned Jalen Crane. Everybody knows about the twins. Desmond Rowlett, I thought, had a really good summer.
Desmond is probably one of the better shooters in the area.
Yeah, I mean, once he gets rolling, he just does not miss.
And I think it's been a confidence thing for Des. But now I think he looks to score. And he, in the past 2 years, the first year he was getting varsity minutes. I'm not going to say he wasn't allowed to shoot, but he wasn't an option to really score. Last year he was an option, but I think that his confidence level was so low that he didn't have that confidence to step in and shoot it 15 times a game.
Yeah.
And honestly, if the kid shoots it 15 times, he's probably going to make 10 or 11.
Yeah.
And that's what they need. They have to have a consistent shooter.
Well, let's talk about the Barron County Trojans a little bit.
Okay.
They lost their top 2 scorers, really but their top 3 scorers when you get down to it. So, and then Tate Spillman, I don't think played at all during the summer run because he had hurt his foot. But Bray Bewley looked good running the point. I thought Connor Stewart and Waylon Clemens played pretty well in some of the games I saw. Of course, Mason Bunch shot the ball really well for him. Graham Hall is kind of their inside presence, and so they were running a lot of stuff in that way. And I thought overall, structurally, they look good. Their biggest struggle, they look like they are going to be a better shooting team next year than they have been. But their biggest struggle might be the inside.
Rebounding.
That kind of stuff. It's going to be rebound by committee, that kind of thing, probably by the time you get to the season. And then on the Glasgow Scotty side, I thought JoJo Driver looked pretty good in the games I saw him play. They got some guys, football players, who didn't play during the summer. I don't know whether they're going to play when the season comes back around. I thought Jeremiah Driver, he looked like he had shaped up some and looked pretty good. He's actually a pretty good shooter, even though he's a big body kid. Jarek Martin looked pretty good when I saw him play. J.C. Walbert, he had some pretty good games. I think for them, they kind of have they want to play at a certain pace. And the challenge for Coach Buford is getting all those players to be able to play at that pace and kind of skill-wise get where they need to be. Because there's still a bunch of young dudes he's relying on to try to get the work done. So that's going to be, I think, the interesting thing for the Scotties.
Right.
But, the summer is basically about just getting the new players in, getting them integrated into the culture of the program, getting them to learn what it is you want to try to do. You can't really take a whole lot from it, I don't think, except, individual development who's been working on their game. Is that kind of how you see the summer?
It is. It is. Going into out of basketball, last week also started dead period. Mm-hmm. And we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will discuss some of the pros and cons of dead period.
At Don Franklin, we're more than a group of car dealerships. We're hardworking, everyday people of Kentucky. We strive daily to give 110% to our customers, our employees, and our families. We are committed to providing everyone with a safe and reliable vehicle, and we continue our tradition of supporting our local communities. At all 24 dealerships across Kentucky, we will treat you like family. Don Franklin Family of Dealerships, we are Kentucky.
Extreme Fitness has doubled in size, now with over 8,000 square feet of co-ed weights and an upgraded 90-degree saline therapy pool. The Extreme Fitness campus also holds the exclusive Extreme Fitness for Women complex and Extreme Blend smoothie bar. You have to experience the variety of classes to realize the impact they have on their clients. Personal training is with the best in the business and is available and tailored to fit individuals. So start your journey today at Extreme Fitness and Health Club.
Lockshield Partners Accounting Services provides professional and trusted expertise to our clients. Our team offers individual, business, and nonprofit tax preparation services, as well as payroll, bookkeeping, and consulting year-round. Call or visit our office today so our team can work for you while you and your loved ones focus on what really matters, because together we plan.
before we get started into the debt period, we want to congratulate Chase Landrum. Chase Landrum won the 2023 Pickens Invitational. It's the second time he's won it. Had the opportunity to play with Chase a lot. Chase is a great kid, really good golfer. And it takes, you've got to be a really good golfer to win the Pickens, the championship flight.
Yeah.
I'm talking to you about golf like you really know what I'm talking about.
I know what the Pickens is, but I don't know anything else about it.
Of course. Did they not play golf in Mississippi?
You think they allow poor people on a golf course in Mississippi?
Well, I didn't know.
I was poor. We could get into that.
All of Mississippi poor?
No. But,
that was a joke. That was a joke.
But most of it.
It was a joke. My bad.
They don't have public golf courses in Mississippi, or at least not when I was growing up.
They do now.
Yeah, but not when I was growing up. So there wasn't a whole lot of opportunity to play the game of golf in Mississippi when I was growing up.
Okay.
So I didn't.
Dead period.
Yeah.
It's here amongst us.
Uh-huh. What do you do during the dead period now that you're an actual football coach?
Well, we've been having coaches meetings, getting everything prepared for July the 10th, so that we don't have to do those things on July the 10th.
Yeah.
Encourage kids to do individual things, work out on your own, run on your own. And a lot of people don't know that we're not even supposed to talk to the kids.
No, you can't communicate with them for 2 weeks.
And,
you said supposed.
Yeah.
Be careful.
No, it's the truth. I'm sure some people do, but I don't.
Yeah, I'm sure there are always people who like communicate with in ways that they shouldn't. But so do you not like the dead period, or you do like
I do like the dead period.
Okay.
The reason I like the dead period is because I'm an advocate of letting kids be kids.
Yeah.
It's like our basketball players, they played 28 games in a month.
Yeah.
And so they didn't get to come to workouts and conditioning and things that we were doing before dead period. So I just wanted them to, all the kids, just take the time to be a kid. Go fishing, do whatever it is that you like to do. But July the 10th, it's time to grind.
Yeah. What's funny is there was no such thing as a dead period in Mississippi, but the seasons themselves were walled off for the most part. And so, and I don't know if it wasn't a rule or whatever by the state association. It was just, you had football season and you had basketball season and you had baseball season, you had fall, winter, spring sports seasons and that kind of stuff. And so, there wasn't a whole lot of conflict on that front. And basically the season started later, the high school season started later and ended sooner than it does in Kentucky.
Right.
And you only had, I think, 3 weeks of football practice before the first game in Mississippi. So you really had a 2-month window. You could do conditioning and that kind of stuff, but you couldn't have pads on, you couldn't do any of that kind of jazz. And so I find that they must enforce people to take a break to be a fascinating thing. It kind of says something about maybe the atmosphere sometimes around high school athletics. That's not a good thing.
I don't think it's a good thing. And I'm sure a lot of coaches will differ from my opinion. But, when I was in high school, we played everything. Mm-hmm. But we also cut tobacco. We had to work.
Yeah.
So when we got that little 2-week break, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Because I could, honestly, growing up poor, instead of working 5 hours for that, I could work 10 hours. And, I always thought it made as an individual, it made me come back fresh.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
Well, it's kind of like whenever I was like in charge, like at the editor at the newspaper and that kind of stuff. I had to have those times where I just went away, because what happened was once I got the grind of the day out of my head and all the things I had to worry about, then I had a window of time to think about the things we needed to be doing differently or improved and that kind of stuff, to think about what the plans were, to actually have my mind focus on something other than the daily trying to keep the pegs in the holes, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's the same thing probably for the coaches, coaching staff, and even the players during that dead period. They have a window where they don't have to think about something all the time.
And you give me a hard time about golf all the time. You know, sometimes I need those days.
No,
you should
I
be
just-
encouraging to me, James.
I do.
Those are my mental health days.
I do the dishes.
You don't do the dishes because you don't cook.
Okay. But but I mean, golf. I'm sure golf serves that
It's
function
relaxing.
as well.
Yes. And
Which is, I'm going to go. I go cover golf tournaments and that kind of stuff, and I don't use a cart. But that's why, because that walking around time out there is when I'm able to.
so you just jabbed me without jabbing me because I told you that, if I go cover golf, I got to have a golf cart.
Well, I'm telling you, you could go walk the
People,
course.
that's
just
what
the
you
same.
don't understand about James Brown.
Yeah, it wasn't a jab.
It was.
It was a little stick.
It was a whole jab.
But the truth is, I mean, I just don't like to play golf, but covering a golf tournament serves the same function for me in that sense.
So you're going to cover the Kentucky Women's Pro-Am today, right?
Yeah, I'll be shooting photos of that. We had. By the time people see this, they'll know what the results are. We'll have them online. But yeah, I'm going to go walk in. There's like Taryn Durham. Mm-hmm. She's playing in it. Nina McMurtry and Abby Lee. So
Okay.
and then
Some really
Brian
good golfers.
Basinger's playing in the Kentucky Senior Open. So
Brian's that old now?
apparently, how old does that make you? That old too?
I can't
You guys
play
got
in
to
the
be about the
senior.
same age,
No,
right?
we're not.
What?
I can't play in the Senior Open. I'm not even 50.
Oh, okay, my bad. Well, you'll be
Speechless.
there. You'll
I'm
be there. You'll be
speechless.
there soon enough. You
I
can go
hope
play
so.
in it.
I hope so. I'm not as good as Brian Basinger, so I won't be playing
No, he was-
Open or Invitation.
He was pretty good, wasn't he?
No, he still is good.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm going to miss a very great opportunity on July 31st.
How's that?
You know, I'm a huge Louisville fan,
Yeah.
and they are having their media and staff golf tournament.
Okay.
And I was invited with KY Sports TV
All right.
to participate, but we're going to camp on July 30th.
Oh.
So I'm not going to be able to go. It's where they match you up with either Coach Payne or Coach Smith or, you know, one of the coaches or some of the trainers. And then some of the former players play. Daryl Griffith, all those guys are there.
See, that's why I give you those little jabs, because you got that humble brag business going on.
What's humble brag? But I don't get to go.
I know. I'm just
I
messing
don't
with
get to
you.
go. So I had to send my delegate.
Oh, who's that?
His name's Connor Wilson.
Okay.
He's from Campbellsville.
All right.
So he'll be enjoying it while I'm on Troopers Island hot during summer practice.
Doing some positive work,
That's
though,
right,
with that
positive
football team
reinforcement.
he's taking charge of.
Well, we're going to take another break. When we come back, we will have Eddie Furlong, who is over the
Glasgow Parks and Recreation.
Glasgow Parks and Recreation, and James is going to talk to him about a few things going on in the city. But we're going to take another quick break, and we'll be back.
All right.
Lockshield Partners Accounting Services provides professional and trusted expertise to our clients. Our team offers individual, business, and nonprofit tax preparation services, as well as payroll, bookkeeping, and consulting year-round. Call or visit our office today so our team can work for you while you and your loved ones focus on what really matters, because together we plan.
Extreme Fitness has doubled in size, now with over 8,000 square feet of co-ed weights and an upgraded 90-degree saline therapy pool. The Extreme Fitness campus also holds the exclusive Extreme Fitness for Women complex and Extreme Blend smoothie bar. You have to experience the variety of classes to realize the impact they have on their clients. Personal training is with the best in the business and is available and tailored to fit individuals. So start your journey today at Extreme Fitness and Health Club.
At Don Franklin, we're more than a group of car dealerships. We're hardworking, everyday people of Kentucky. We strive daily to give 110% to our customers, our employees, and our families. We are committed to providing everyone with a safe and reliable vehicle. and we continue our tradition of supporting our local communities. At all 24 dealerships across Kentucky, we will treat you like family. Don Franklin Family of Dealerships, we are Kentucky.
Hey, this is James Brown. Welcome back to Tell Me About It on EPB Channel 6 local channel. You can also catch this show on the EPB YouTube channel, the 104thescore.com and kysports.tv. We have the much better looking Eddie Furlong here replacing Trevent Hayes. He had to go. Too many little jabs there at the end, I suppose. Eddie, you're the director, right, for the Glasgow Parks and Recreation Department. And you guys have really a lot going on.
We do. We have a lot going on right now. Summer's our busy time of the year.
Yeah.
And storms yesterday or the day before didn't help it too much.
Right.
So we're pretty busy right now.
Yeah, I guess, did you guys receive any significant damage to any of the...
We did. So every one of our parks was touched in one way or another. Beaver Creek Park had a lot of flooding and a lot of tree damage. American Legion had a lot of tree damage. Weldon, so far what we found is just a little bit of tree damage.
Yeah.
Just like a couple of the tops or limbs that were knocked out. Twyman Park received some flooding. It ripped down most of the fence that goes along the creek.
Yeah.
And then Gorham Park was a pretty good washout as well.
Yeah, I figure it's whenever, if it rains
If
hard,
it just rains, it floods pretty good.
Yeah.
This was a pretty substantial rain that you're familiar with over there. So the gazebo down the right field baseline was moved past the substation that's down there.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so there's quite a bit of water flowing through there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that new walking path that you guys had over on Trojan Trail, or the city had over on Trojan Trail, I guess where that creek is, one of those bridges, everything around it was basically washed out.
It is, yeah. It actually destroyed some of the new blacktop that they
Yeah.
put down, so they're going to have to go back and fix that.
Yeah, so I saw that Monday when I was over there. But, it's, I guess, on the upside out of that storm, I mean, I know it was rough for a lot of things, but there have been no report of fatalities or
Yeah, not
things.
that I've heard of. I mean, I don't think anybody in this community was touched that way, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Just wind and water damage for the most part.
Yeah, so it's property which hurts.
It
but,
hurts, yeah. And most of ours, for the most part, is just stuff that we have to clean up.
Yeah,
And it's just going to take a little while to do it.
right. Speaking of being over in Gorham Park, let's talk a little bit about Richardson Stadium.
Okay.
I know couldn't get I guess whatever the next stage is done before the start of baseball season. The field was in good shape, so
Yeah.
they were able to play. You guys got a temporary, I guess what's going to be a temporary backstop up or
Well,
whatever.
we're actually, so yes, to answer those questions, but we're looking at leaving that backstop.
Okay.
Because we did kind of make it more permanent than initially what we were talking about. Kind of where we are. Obviously, we had a change of leadership last year, so that kind of put the brakes on what was taking place initially. Right now, we're with a company that's doing a design process for us, or a design for us. They've showed the mayor and myself a design. We've approved it, or at least said that we've liked it, for them to go further and get us more details as far as cost and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I know we're coming up on the year anniversary pretty much, and everybody wants something to happen, but it's been a super slow process, unfortunately.
Well, and I mean, it was the downside was it was in the midst of an election year, so
Yeah.
you were either going to have you were going to have a new mayor,
Yeah.
right? So that means all the city business is going to be reviewed by the new administration and whatnot, and see where they are. And
Yeah, we had a couple designs before the mayoral change, and we really couldn't get a commitment from Glasgow, and I think part of it was because the mayor changed. They might have wanted to see what was going to take place, and so everything did change, and it changed everything else.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, looking forward? I mean, you talked about you guys have a design, that to look at. What's the process for working through that design? You mentioned trying to get cost or whatever, but
Yeah.
what else?
So, I mean, really, that's the main thing for us right now. We need to figure out what the cost is going to be so we can allocate funds for that. We do have some insurance money, but we already know that it's not going to cover everything that's going to be needed. So we need to figure out what that is. We're still waiting to hear from the school system on what their particular buy-in or partnership or however you want to call it
Yeah.
is going to take place.
Okay.
we've been going back and forth with them for a little while.
Well, and I guess another thing for the Glasgow school system is they'll have a new baseball coach.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that may have
It's
some
gonna
sort
change
of
some things
impact
as
as
well,
well. Because, I mean, Sam Royce, that field is his baby.
It is.
And so I know at least up until June 30th, he was still maintaining the field and that kind of stuff. But July 1,
July 1 changes things.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to see, just because of what you said, Sam was out there pretty much every day. And anytime there was an issue, he called me or texted me, hey, this is going on. What can we do to fix it? So I'm interested to see how that's going to change.
right. And then because of, I guess, the tennis courts over at Gorin Park, they need some resurfacing.
They do.
And maybe some other repairs to some of them. But then there's the discussion about what to do with American Legion Park, because the softball field is it not still used there really?
It's still used by travel teams. They use it
Okay.
for practices. But to pick up on what you just said about American Legion, so last night they passed the budget.
Okay.
And in that budget passing was a lot of money for the renovation of American Legion Park.
Yeah.
And that's the next phase of what we're getting ready to get into.
Well, and I guess, I don't know how old the city pool is, but it's pretty old.
It opened in 1976,
Okay.
so it's 47 years old.
Gotcha. I knew it was pretty old.
Yeah.
And so I guess maintaining a pool over a length of time probably becomes cost prohibitive at some point in time.
It
I know
does.
that discussion has happened in the past.
Yeah, I've been having that discussion since I took over as director a little bit over 12 years ago now, and we're finally at the point where we're able to do something about it, and we have the backing, it looks like, to go full steam ahead.
Well, and so that's the thing. I mean, initially there were people who were like, we don't need a city pool.
Right.
But I mean, it is a great thing for our community. I mean, it's used a lot during
It
the
is.
summer. It's used not just by people who show up and swim, but I guess the swimming teams stuff.
Well,
still?
we haven't had the swim team out there in several years.
Okay.
They started just staying at the YMCA
I got
and
you.
doing their things in the morning, which was good for us because it helped offset some of the costs that we were having to have more lifeguards and
Gotcha.
those type of things.
But it's still just a great community feature.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, Glasgow's one of the few communities to have a city pool.
So myself and my parks group and previous mayors have all had the discussion on, do we keep a pool or do we not keep a pool? And every one of us came to the conclusion that we need a city pool for
Yeah.
the community. Some communities get rid of them, but we really need one here.
Well, I tell you what, when I moved here 20 years ago, that was a feature that my wife and I, because we had very young children, and we were both like, still have a city pool?
Yeah.
I mean, it was a selling point for us. We used it a lot. But with that opportunity to then redo American Legion Park, you can build a new pool.
We are. So I don't know if you've seen the plans or not, but we have a design that's in place, and we're, like I said, pecking down the order. It's going to be a completely new park, basically, from the very beginning all the way to the back of the park. The design process, or the design that we're looking at right now, and that we're moving forward with, is to move the pool up to where the softball field is. That'll be the main focal point of the park. Once that is built, we're going to tear out the old pool, and we're going to do some renovations up front. Some of those things are pickleball courts, basketball court, shelters, a small skate spot. Not a skate park, but a skate spot. We want to make sure that we don't want to say something that it's not necessarily that it is.
Yeah.
We're looking at doing an adult exercise equipment area, so
Okay.
like outdoor playground for adults,
Yeah.
and those
Yay.
type of things. Yeah.
Are you also looking to do tennis courts there, or are you?
Well, initially we were,
Okay.
but we couldn't fit the number of courts that the tennis group was wanting, so we're going to look at a different location for that.
Okay. Does that mean eventually the ones at Gorin Park will go away? Is that what you think will happen?
We think so.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure on that, but we think so.
Okay. Speaking of pickleball, it's a huge sport, I guess.
Fastest growing sport in the U.S.
Yeah. Do you guys do pickleball leagues and stuff like that?
We don't do a league. We do have an open gym pickleball.
Okay.
It takes place on Tuesdays and Thursday mornings up at Liberty Street.
Yeah.
It's just whoever wants to come play can come play. And we generally have a group of about 20 plus or minus people that show up.
Well, and I guess the other thing is do you call it ultimate golf? See, we called it frisbee golf when I was growing up.
It's
We'd put a
disc
target on
golf is what it's called.
Yeah, we'd put a target on a pine tree and see if
Yeah.
we could hit it, right?
Yeah.
So, but I guess that's growing in the community too.
It is, yeah. So you're familiar with it. We've got two new courses that opened up over the last year down at Gorin Park and then over at Weldon Park as well.
Okay.
And it's getting a lot of use, both of them.
Really?
Yeah.
See, these are the kinds of things, like when somebody says pickleball, I go, pickleball, or disc golf. I'm like, disc golf, because I kind of think of them in a
Here's how I look
childish
at
way.
it. It is kind of, it's something that just came out of a sport that not a lot of people played, so they took a couple sports and combined them. And it's something that, like, you can go play, I can go play if we've never played those sports.
Yeah.
And it's very cheap to play too, or
Yeah.
it can be.
Yeah.
You can make it as expensive as you want.
Yeah,
but,
those disc frisbees can get on up there.
some of those guys, they'll pack around a backpack and it's got 12 different discs in it
Yeah.
or whatever. I just want the one.
Yeah, exactly. Anything else you think people need to know, Eddie?
No, I mean, we've got a lot going on. So, we touched on the renovation of American Legion Park, which I think is going to be huge for this community. We have a lot of storm damage that we're cleaning up, so please be patient with us. If you see us out there working, stay out of the working areas and give my guys a pat on the back because they're working hard. We do have a lot of special events that take place in the parks that we re-implemented this year. Our Movie in the Park series we started last month. The Concert in the Park series we're doing as well. So we're very excited to be doing the different things that we do for the community, and the majority of these are free events too.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty awesome. The community needs recreation.
They do. I tell a lot of people that everybody, when they move to a community, yes, they look at your schools and they look at your police and fire, but the next thing they look at is recreation, because what are they going to do for their workers or their family? And that's where we come in.
Yep. Free time's important.
Free time's important.
All right, this is James Brown. Been here talking to Eddie Furlong, Glasgow Parks and Recreation Department Director.
Yep.
And we are on Tell Me About It. We'll be back next week.